was a rerun.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I'm just one of your hosts with the mostest, the sleep-deprived parent, Clayton Kisco, and I'm accompanied, of course, by the rest of the Maelstrom gamers.
That's right.
And on this podcast today, episode 34, not 44 and a half, mind you, it's
and
34, we have the heartthrob, Mr. A.K.A. Rock
Tootsie
Avelino.
Roll. That's right, baby. AKA Tootsie Roll right here.
A.K.A. Tootsie Roll. He's
I don't
with
know
us
where
on...
it came from. First wanted me to tell you, I'm the Tootsie Roll, baby.
There's something to that. There is a TV show. Yeah, it's like A.K.A. Tootsie Roll or something like that.
Hey, no, I'm telling you where I stole this from, okay? If you guys haven't heard about it yet, Little Dicky, he's out there. He hits it up with the AKA every time he hits a song up, and I'm AKA. Oh, I already said it, but it's in my mind. Frosty Hands.
It's AKA.
Frosty Hands.
Just like that, Frosty Hands.
All right, if you don't know Little Dicky, you should definitely YouTube him, especially his Save That Money song. It's absolutely hysterical because it actually documents him trying to... What he's capable of doing, what he does is basically, it's a song about saving money, and he goes around L.A. finding ways to make a rap video without spending a dime, and he does
That's what I do.
And he like everything from getting like Little T-Pain to using like people on his music videos to like get that rap music video thing. Like he just makes... I'm doing a horrible job explaining this. He goes to like this old woman, uses the mansion, like everything is used for free and it's hysterical.
And cars, he goes to the Lamborghini place. He's like, hey, can you just borrow the Lamborghini for a little bit?
Everybody's apprehensive at first, but eventually like he gets it because he's just persistent. It's really funny, so check it out. AKA Frosty Hands, AKA Mr. Beanie, AKA Heartthrob.
Yes.
AKA Smooth Jazz in your ear.
Smooth Jazz.
There you go. And that voice that you're hearing is a man who is actually going to be able to take off his mask in the next episode, in episode 35, because we've hit our $40 mark. Guys, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing.
There it is.
It's taken a while, but honestly, what doesn't, stuff like this does take a while. And we really appreciate everybody who's kind of been with us and who's followed us and who's helped us. And because of that, we've hit our mark. We have new microphones for Ian. He's also going to take off his mask. He's a bit ugly, so, it will be jarring.
It will be. Close your eyes first and be prepared.
And but
guys,
he's about to sound really good. So, so without any further ado, the man that you hear but never see until the next episode, Mr. Ian, the Enigma.
Boom. And actually, what's going on? That's how the door closes, man. I mean,
it's like AKA, that's how the door closes.
Right.
AKA, I love it.
AKA.
Rocco's AKA and
Lady Killer.
And Ian is that's how, because that's how the cookie crumbles. That's how the door closes.
That's how the door closes.
And that's how you turn off a computer. I'm Ian.
AKA on fire.
So what do we? I mean, you need a new nickname if you're not going to be the Enigma anymore.
Yeah.
Damn, that's true.
The artist formerly known as the Enigma. That could be something.
I think.
Just a symbol.
Can I just be a symbol?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to think about this one a little bit.
I'm gonna have a symbol. And then we're just gonna show it every time.
You guys are gonna be a little nervous. He's got tattoos all over his face, like
tears, like 5 of them.
Yeah, and like he's got tears. Did you just say tears?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he killed
prison.
Yeah,
that was
right.
From prison.
And then not like a real Band-Aid, but a tattooed Band-Aid.
Yeah, because he loved
the real Nelly.
He loved Nelly. Yeah, that's what it was. And if you don't know who Nelly is, we're too old. We just gave away our age.
Shit.
No, it hasn't come to that.
It's like he hasn't came back in forever, dude. He was like 90s.
Yeah, I mean that's early 2000s.
Early
man.
Shit. If someone is watching this, they don't know who Nelly is.
There's some that probably don't, dude.
Oh my God.
They're like,
Nelly, who the fuck is Nelly? How do you spell that?
I never thought it would, but that's so obscure. I would have thought something else would have been the thing that made me feel old, but like Nelly, like that
Nelly
album,
makes you feel old.
That album they had, that fucking Country Grammar was so good.
Oh,
It's
Country
getting
Grammar.
hot in her.
That's a different album. Yeah.
I don't fucking
You're
know.
washing my mellow
AKA
right now.
album not known.
yeah.
Now you feel real old.
And that's how the album goes gold, y'all. I'm out.
I'm out. Just piss me off, man.
All right. Well, look, for those of you guys hopping on who doesn't know who Nelly is or doesn't know AKA Tiny Curl, who doesn't know the format,
AKA half a heart.
Who doesn't know the format of the show, let me explain really quick. It's very simple. Every week, the Maelstrom Gamers, we hop on and we do a podcast. We each bring a random topic for our discussion, but more importantly, for your entertainment. And each topic, there's 5 of them, and they're each released topic by topic Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, all of them rolled up with a full episode. You can get all these for free on youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel. If you want to get them early, you can go on to patreon.com/Maelstrom Gamers, throw us a couple bucks, and we'll give it to you, to you early. The important part of that also is that even just $1 helps support us immensely and gets us closer to some of our goals that we want to do, including new equipment and maybe doing like a different show. Ian wants to do some cooking stuff. We stream League of Legends. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that we can do. We have it all up on there. You can read about it some more. If you don't have money, that's cool. You can support us for free as well. We have a Facebook. We have Instagram. We have the YouTube channel. So comment, like, subscribe, and share. Facebook, all that stuff helps. So please do that. I am sleep deprived, so this is coming out.
The curl is killing me.
I'm gonna actually get a tattoo of that shit right there.
Don't do that. Don't do that. AKA bad decisions.
AKA bad decisions.
AKA brilliant.
No. The other thing is we have iTunes podcast, but it's a little fickle. So if you've been looking for them recently and they're not there, I apologize. That's just something that's just been falling off the wayside. We're trying to fix that. But we'll have to look into that a little bit more.
That'll be part of the topics there. That'll be part of the topics for today.
My topic is how we fail.
How we fail.
Day in and day out.
How we fail.
No. But speaking of topics, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We want to make sure that you guys kind of know what we're going to be talking about for the episode. So episode 35, which is what we're on.
Ish.
Not 34.
Ish.
This is how
34.
This is 35.
No, I thought you just...
So
okay.
36, episode 36, Ian will have his face off. And
Face off.
This is episode
Face
35,
off.
yeah.
Brilliant Nicolas Cage movie.
That's what I was going to say. That was a part of my trivia, bro.
So today we're going to be talking about sports and kids. I know we talked about it before. We have a couple new thoughts on that, especially with Ian. We're gonna be talking about being a new parent. Why I'm so sleep deprived. We have a topic on willpower. So stay tuned for that. That's of course Rocco, aka Life Goal Manager.
Life goal.
And then we have crazy drunk stories coming up. We're going to talk about some of the wildest stuff we've ever done while intoxicated and young and stupid. And then we're also going to be talking about League of Legends Season 6. Every year, a new season for League of Legends comes out. Bunch of changes. And we're going to be kind of discussing our thoughts on the current changes. And, we've had some time to play it, and especially these two guys. And we're going to kind of just dive into that a little bit. So... let's start this episode off without further adu, and let's kick.
Let's start. Why don't we start it off with understanding what a doula is? Because somebody I know that's on this podcast right now is a little bit famous for having a little segment on the news. That's right. It's because of something that came around. But explain what a doula is, please.
Okay, so a doula is someone who you hire who is a professional. Think about it like a nurse, like your own personal nurse that you work with leading up to the birth, covering your birthing plan, where you're going to give birth, how you want to give birth, and all your needs during birth. And they are your advocate. They're there to help you with all the things that you've laid out, all the things that you want. And they're also there to help you. And this is very important because this often gets looked over, but they're also there to help support your significant other. So in this scenario, me. So my wife and I hired a couple doulas, and there was one doula with us.
Why did you need a doula though? What happened there?
Yeah, why would
what happened there?
Like a lot of people are like, it's all about, and this is and I'll get to my stupid analogy in a minute, but this is why people just always focus on. Sorry, I'm losing topics, losing my train of thought again. People tend to focus on the wife, and they don't really focus on the significant other because they think it's all about the wives. But in reality, it really is also about the significant other, because when that partner feels like they are not sleep deprived and that they are in their like their needs are also met, they can then focus all of that 100% energy on the wife. Right, on the person giving birth, and that person will benefit from it. So, little jumbled. Sorry for that. I'm having trouble articulating, but
there's kind of a reason for that, right?
Let me ask you this: did they have dreads?
No, they didn't have dreads. So doulas are often associated with midwifery, but you don't need a doula. Like a doula you can have a doctor in a hospital birth, a very traditional birth, with or a C-section, whatever, and you can have a doula there because they're there pre, during, and post. So they're there to help you create a birthing plan and make sure that when you're in the hospital or when you're at home, wherever you're giving birth, that your needs are met. So, if nurses come in and they're like, hey, look, we need to do this, that, and the other thing. We're looking at this, that, and the other thing, and these are your options. She is a liaison to say, well, look, they're talking about this, and this will lead to that. This goes against your birthing plan. Are you okay with that? Or she just said this. This means that. Or, what do you guys think? Or she said this. Do you have any questions about this, that, and the other thing? Like, she's really there to help make sure that you understand everything that's going on, right? So, like I said, she's there for the wife. She's also there for the significant other. So, like, I can go take a nap for 3 hours if she's laboring for 3 days or 2 days, so I can come back refreshed. I can go take a piss. I can go take a shower. I can go eat. It allows me to be fully recharged, so I can be there, fully present for my wife. And a lot of people think, well, whatever, I don't need that. I'm gonna tough it out. But it makes such a huge difference, because here's the thing, and this is where I was going with the analogy, is like, and I'm struggling to find a great example, but like, think about it like, I don't know. You can go to Disney World, right? And you can have a really fun time. But like, let's say in order to get to Disney World, you got to drive for 18 hours, and you only have time to go to Disney World, and then you got to drive back. You're going to have fun, but it's going to be kind of miserable. Now imagine if you could hire someone to drive you to Disney World, wake up, enjoy that process, and then hire someone to drive you home. It's really that big of a difference. You don't need it, but I'm telling you, when you're there and you're not sleep deprived, my experience was so wonderfully memorable that it was like, it didn't have one negative thought. And you might not think you'll have negative thoughts with the birthing process, but it's not as hard and it's not as grueling. And so like, you really just were all there focused in having to enjoy that process 100%.
So what I got from that, Clay, is that you slept most of the time.
No, I didn't.
You slept in the car.
I didn't, but like in our birthing.
I'm kidding.
No, I totally hear you. But our birthing plan was thrown completely out the window because my wife had preeclampsia. So she gave birth 6 weeks early, and it was very scary because she was on magnesium, which is to say she was on a certain type of chemical that made her very, very drowsy, full of headaches. She was bloated. Just birthing was very different, and it took 4 days. And so I was very and so I was sleep deprived. We had the doula come in, tons of stuff that were going on that we didn't expect, or information being thrown at us, and the doula was like, "Look, try the blah blah." But I was also learning from the doula. Like, she knew what was happening in a lot of cases. It was like, run and get ice, run in and ask for this, run in and grab that. And I was like, okay, cool. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. Like, I'll follow her lead. Different massages, techniques. Like, and there was someone on call constantly. So, 24/7, we had someone there with us, and I was able to sleep, and then wake up and help.
That's
help
awesome.
to the bathroom, help get a nurse, all this stuff.
That's the birthing process. Now that you're kind of like, what now? You're about he was born in February 2nd. Am I right? When was it?
January 14th.
No, sorry, January. Okay,
He's in
February 2nd. February 2nd is when he came home, or February 6th?
Yeah, it's around there.
When
Like February 4th, he came home.
Gotcha. So you've been a dad for about 2 months now. What is that early stage of childhood like, man? What does that feel like?
It feels pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I will say that I am very sleep deprived. I get about an hour of sleep at a time. He's a preemie. Okay. And he's dealing with just like gas and
colicky.
Are they colic?
I don't think I would say colicky, because colicky is but he's definitely his digestive system is just not mature enough. And this happens with a lot of preemies, is they just grunt all the time. And he could be dealing with some reflux. So when you lay him down, he'll like sleep for an hour, and then he wakes up, and it's just it's like, I'll crack up because it's pretty funny. He'll grunt, like he'll like hunker down, like he'll just go, and he'll be like, and he'll cry a little bit, and then more farts will come out, and that lasts for about an hour or so. And depending how much he ate, he'll either go back to bed, or he'll be up and hungry again. And you're like, dude.
Gotcha.
So, and then the only remedy really is to hold him.
Yeah.
We just bought a pack and play, so I've heard really great things for preemies about the pack and play, because it's like a vibration or rock and play or whatever.
Gotcha.
So hopefully that will help. But hours at a time, and then Sarah and I doing shifts. I am doing with a preemie. He's not even a newborn yet. He's still only 39 weeks. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, the newborn process only lasts for a while. Don't worry about it. It's like, well, we've actually had the newborn process for a month and a half now. So think about and I know Rocco, you have been a parent, and
Yeah.
the last time Mihaela must be like what, 2 years, 3 years?
No, she's about almost a year and kind of getting towards a year and a half right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it might be
Because you
kind of
had
fresh
her
with
right
you.
before my wedding.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that
Honestly,
newborn
man,
process was like a month.
I don't know if I have similar stories or not, but man, my those initial stages were really difficult for me,
Dude.
me and my wife too, man. Like we had a colicky baby. Our first guy, LJ, was colicky, and it was like he just it was tough. It was so tough because, like you said, we had maybe an hour in between each sleep kind of deal going on. We had to take shifts as well, where it was like, I've got this shift just so you can get some sleep, and I took my shift out in the living room while she slept in the bedroom.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah, this way it was like no sound, nothing's going to interrupt your sleep. You're going to be able to actually get some solid sleep, because if we don't, like, we were going crazy. I mean, I'm not a big crier by any means, but I cried more in my life in that 3 months of having our baby from until he was 3 months old than anything, because we had sat down saying like am I even capable of this? Like, I don't, like, I love him so much, but like, this is so difficult because that sleep deprivation is no joke.
It's real, dude.
Like, everything becomes stressful. Everything becomes kind of like crazy and intertwined. You don't know what's going on, and you want to take care of your kid the best that you can. You don't know if you're doing something right, wrong, and adjusting to all that change is the biggest part. I felt like for me as a newborn, like as a new father, that change was dramatic. It was like going from being able to play video games at any time I want, get up and go out to Steak and Shake at fucking 12, and that's cool. Doesn't matter. I could, you wanted to go out to the club or the bar and we want to just grab a drink real quick and come back in. Cool, we can do that too. Yeah. Or a friend just hit us up. You want to go hang out at a friend's house? That all changed, which was a big thing, but what was the biggest thing was that even in our house, those regular routines changed too. Oh, yeah. It wasn't being able to just do what we wanted to do. Now it was just like, it was fully catering around to the baby, because the baby's so new, the baby's so dependent upon
of attention.
And when they got colic or some type of other issue, a preemie, like you said, you're going for, already been doing it for 2 months, a month and a half. Haven't even gotten to the newborn stage yet, like, holy crap. I was thinking about that just earlier today. I was taking a shower. I was like, man, you know what? Clay hasn't, like I said, the first 3 months of my life with the baby was a tough situation, but he's got that 3 months plus a month and a half. Like, that's no joke. Yeah. Like, he's gonna have.
Because like I'm reading everything about. They're like, oh yeah, the grunts last like 2 months, and it's like, that's 3.5 months adjusted for me. I'm like, fuck, dude, 3 months. How did you do this with work? Like, being sleep deprived. Like,
It was honestly. I'm in a fortunate situation, okay, because my work is like, I'm capable of making a good amount of money in a very short period of time, which allows me to have kind of breaks in work. So I don't have something where I own my own company where I can kind of make my own schedule, which is a big deal for when we had our baby, because I was able to take a good break to be able to help take care of the baby. In fact, actually, I was doing a lot of the taking care of the baby because my wife was in school, finishing up her nursing school at the time.
Oh, right.
So she had to go to school probably 4 or 5 days out of the week, and I was doing the father thing pretty much a lot. Let's just say. So it was good not having the job thing, but the other part was just that it was all brand new to me. Some things that I would say is this: I have a daughter and I have a son now, and it looks just to me with the relationships that I'm seeing right now that the females tends to have kind of a more of like a nurturing side, like naturally. Oh, yeah. Or that, my son didn't really have a nurturing side, didn't really care to get hugged, was indifferent to all this love and stuff, where my little girl's just like, yo, give me a big old hug, or give me a kiss, or like, and she knows how to do this whole thing. She grabs her baby doll and she holds it, and she's like I said, she's not even a year and a half yet. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that's different.
I've heard that from a bunch of different people. We have friends, obviously. We have a bunch of friends who have kids who are just in that stage of life, and they say that. They're like, boys are just different. Boys just like grab stuff and start smashing.
Yeah,
girls are like a lot more.
It was just different, So it was like being that guy that's like, I'm not really the nurturing type either. So it was like I had to kind of do a lot of changing, you know what I mean, and like and adjusting, and it was not the easiest by any means, and that's why I have a lot of respect, for people that want to go out there and they want to become parents and stuff like that, and they're working the hardest to do the best that they can. I have a lot of respect for that because it takes a lot, and I also have a lot of respect for well, not a lot of respect. It's like I have, it's a, it's a, I'm losing my words here, but it's very, very, very important, let's just say, to make sure that you want to have a kid before you have a kid, which is why I have a lot of respect for those individuals that say, I'm not prepared to have a kid yet, and I'm not going to have it yet. Because it's like, good.
Responsible.
And not that that's the way that I felt. I felt ready to have a kid. And even feeling ready to have a kid,
You're not ready
to have a kid. I still wasn't ready to have kids, you know.
Yeah, dude.
Like, well, and I was trying my best and trying my hardest, and still, you know, it got us through. We're here today. We're still alive. But it was, like I said, I became a crier in the 3 months because I was like, I don't know what's going on in the world. Like my life is, I don't know if I can live any longer. This is tough.
So what's interesting is that a doula will come after the birth as well and check up on you. How are you doing? How's the mom doing? How are you breastfeeding? What else? What other needs do you need?
I was asking because we didn't have that kind of experience. You know what I mean? Like for us, it's like, you know, from your little episode that I saw that hopefully you'll post underneath this video and then everybody can see your famous.
Yeah, you got to.
We did actually do a lot of the stuff that you guys said you were going to do. We didn't have the, you know, a preemie, so we didn't have the unexpected kind of situation that occurred for you guys. We got to be able to do the candle, the nice lighting, the nice mood setting, all that kind of deal. We took our, you know, classes, classes. We even did some like hypnosis. We didn't take any classes on it, but we did some I forget what it's called now, but like pregnancy hypnosis stuff where it's like they just listen to really calming music to get themselves to a really relaxing place. We did a lot of that. And you have a really good point because it is really stressful for the significant other too. You know, I was there for my wife 100% the best that I possibly could be, but it was difficult for me too because I was just as sleep deprived because I was going to make sure that I was up, she's up, you know.
Exactly.
And I got 2 hours of sleep, and she was, you know, we weren't in for 4 days of labor, but we were definitely in for 2 days of labor, and that was a rough thing because it was like, because once the baby's born, you're like, all I want to do is be around the baby, and then you're like, holy crap, I have had no sleep in the past 3 days.
So could you imagine, like, I mean, again, it's like, okay, you can either be completely sleep deprived and probably forget a couple of those moments with your kid, or you can hire someone to make sure that, like, someone's always there for your wife. You can sleep, and then you can, like, see your kid for the first time and just be so fresh. And just,
I remember we felt
it's kind of like
bad.
having 2 of you then.
Yeah,
like,
God, that's exactly it.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Except the second version of you is a lot smarter and knows a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. A lot more like informed and knowledgeable on the situation that's going down. You know.
Well, and I was gonna say, one of my great friends, Matt, he has 3 children now, and when he had his first daughter, we were, man, I have to say around 22, maybe 21. Yeah. And I actually lived with him for a while he had his daughter.
Oh, cool.
And before I actually moved in with him, we lived together for a while. Then I lived with an ex, and then I moved back in with him. So long story short, his daughter was colic, and I went over there to hang out with him a few times, and I just couldn't even be there. Like after 25 minutes, and his daughter was screaming and just, and I was like, bro, I gotta go. And he's like, don't go.
Holding on to any little threat they can.
And I'd be like, okay. So I'd sit there and I'd hang out with him for like an hour or two. And I mean, that I just don't know how. And I can understand your point of view, Rocco, just being like, can I even do this? And I mean, I only got to do it for, an hour, and it's not even my kid.
Well, I will say this, is that we've had a couple people come over now, and some of them do have kids, like babies, newborn babies. And when it is not your kid crying, it is an absolutely completely different feeling than your kid crying. It's so weird, but like, just for example, both of them were crying here. And one of them, I was like, I can't even really, this is crazy. But when my kid cries, I'm like, I'm okay. It's like, it's my kid. It's, like, it's weird. It's a weird thing. I don't really know what to equate that to, but like, it's just different. It's just so different. You're not nearly as like stressed. Or, I mean, you are. Don't get me wrong.
But it's different.
It's so different.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, I don't even have kids yet, but I mean, I would say, Rocco, that I'm in that stage because I made a choice. I always said that I was not going to have a kid until I'm at least 30. I just turned 30. My wife and I have been talking about it, but we're going through a lot of different changes right now of work and possibly where we're going to be living. So
Yeah.
we kind of just put that on like a brief hold while we get that
Yeah.
all figured out. But
See, and that I have respect for those individuals that can make those kind of decisions, though, because I see so many that just boom, there's a baby, and they're like, well, what the fuck, like.
yes. And so that's what we decided, and we're taking the measures of making that not happen yet. So I just haven't been laid in a long time. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. No, but
Kids will do
so,
Yeah, kids will do that.
I can imagine that, but no. So that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm actually ready to be a father, and Taylor tells me a lot. She's like, "Are you mad at me?" And I'm like, "I'm not mad at you at all. Like, I'm like, this is a smart decision that we decided both together."
Yeah.
She goes, "I know that because a lot of things are happening with me." I told her that I wanted to have a child before anything happened to my parents because I want my child to experience that.
Yeah.
So and she's like, "Well, I hope you're not mad at me because she's about to start a new job and we could be moving." So
Yeah.
that's kind of how that's going, and I'm definitely ready. I see like, a bunch of my friends having kids. Clay, of course, Rock already has kids. So I don't know. I'm 30 and I'm ready, kind of thing.
Yeah, I gotcha. See, that's what I was saying is like I've met a lot of individuals though that didn't have that. They just kind of ended up having a baby. Nothing against people that have a baby. And the part that I have against is where individuals have babies and then they can't deliver to those children and be those parents that they need to be. That's the part that I have a problem with, and it tends to happen from what I see more with individuals that have babies unexpected because there's some type of underlying resentment built up towards the baby. Like, you ruined my life. Like, first off, like
your decision.
to be able to even have the baby, you did something yourself.
Yeah.
And not everybody, a lot of individuals still have used some type of protection or done something and still claim that, oh wow, we still had a baby, and that it is possible, but even taking some precautions, which is why it's like, well, then just don't do it, which is a tough one to say.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you this before we move on. When you're sleep deprived, it's so easy to snap.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know, Rocco, if you have any stories, but I recently had one of the funniest snapping moments at my wife the other day, and we both snapped at each other. But I guess she had eaten, and I made breakfast. She'd eaten first. I held him, and then she was holding him, and she was like, "Hey," and I'm eating, and then in the course of eating, she's like, "Hey, can you? Okay, hey, can you? Okay, hey, can you?" And then so by the fourth time I came in, she's like, "Yeah, can you do it?" And I was like, I was freaking out in my head because I just wanted to eat. But I knew that this freak out request moment was going to come off as like bad, so I wanted to make it as just funny or not threatening as possible. That's the word, not threatening as possible.
You just threw the ball.
No, so I came in and I was like, okay, and she's like, and I was like, I just want to eat right now. So I started doing this dance, and I was like, I just need to eat right now because as I turned and walking, and she's just like, go eat. I was like, I can just have 5 minutes to eat. Yeah.
If you don't let me do my robot dance, shit's going down.
She's like, get out of here, go. And I was like, she's like,
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
No, man. I honestly, because it's not so fresh in my mind right now, I would say that yes, I have had those situations occur. I can't bring it to the plate right now, just because, honestly, I had them. We all go through those situations where you're just so sleep deprived, and you don't mean to take it out on your significant other by any means, but it usually does translate sometimes just because of that stress that's being built up. And even if it's something simple as like, hey, can you do that? Hey, can you do that? I'm taking care of the kid. All I want to do is take a shit.
AKA shit taker.
AKA shit taker. Close the door.
Yeah. And it's only gonna it's now it's just a part of your life. It's now gonna change. I think I'm a father of a preemie who's going to constantly worry about stuff until they get to a newborn. And then I realized that's not going to change. When they get to be a newborn, I'm still going to worry. Yep. When they get older, I'm still going to worry. When they get to be 6, 7, 10 years old, I'm still going to worry. When they want to go into sports, I'm gonna be worried.
So talking about sleep deprived, I'm not getting up every hour, but I am getting up nowadays. I am still getting up in the night. There's like last night, for example. The little one will wake up and just be like, "Hey, mommy, I love you. Mommy, I love you."
Back to sleep.
Until somebody replies back, this little jit is just gonna be like, "Mommy, I love you, mommy, mommy." Come back to bed, mother.
So what do you do? Do you just go in there and be like, I love you too?
Remember that conversation I had with you before you went to bed? He's like, yeah. Like the one where I said, don't. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you need to get yourself back to sleep. Just relax. Go back to bed.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. You need to do that.
Shit.
Awesome.
No,
Hey, so speaking of sports there, Clay, what do you think about your son when he comes home and says, hey, Dad, I want to play football?
I'm going to say, here are your options. You can be a quarterback, a kicker, or a long snapper.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to play football, that's definitely. I don't know. I played football when I was a kid, in high school. I didn't play. What do they call it?
Little League or Pee Wee football or whatever.
I never played Pee Wee football, and honestly, that would be really tough for me without doing any research. I know we've talked about this a little bit before, and I think now that I have a kid, my views are a lot more cautious and cautiously optimistic. I would have to do some research, see what they do as an organization in terms of helping kids tackle correctly. Actually, if I remember correctly, they don't tackle in Pee Wee. Maybe they do.
They do. Because
Okay.
Rocco and I, we actually played football together. I started in 3rd grade.
But
actually.
this is years ago now. I don't know if they do tackling anymore.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen like videos of friends posting their kids' football games and stuff. I mean, it might be going away from that. It's more flag football, but like, and kids with sports, I think it's like my parents. They said, look, you're gonna do a sport. You can pick the sport, but you're gonna do a sport.
Yeah.
Because and I think it was really good, and I've touched on this before. It really brought like a base to me. It showed me values of listening to people and being a team player. I think it really it brought it all around of, hey, try to work through a certain goal with a group of people, having someone that's in charge and listening to them. It really kind of builds that base. Now, go ahead if you're going to say something.
I was just going to say that I'm compartmentalizing this topic into like 3, I think, distinct things, and it's that I personally think I would want to talk about, which is, sports and their safety.
Right.
The idea that sports really help a child's development, and then how many sports.
Okay.
I'm curious about that. So go ahead, Ian.
Yeah.
I was hoping you might maybe hit on those.
Yeah, well, and I chose football. I played baseball one time, and it's really funny. My dad still cracks up about it. I played Little League baseball.
You got hit by the ball, didn't you?
Yeah, I got hit. In my. The thing is that if you look at my mom took the track of hits and everything like that. I was hitting the ball. I was doing everything, and then boom, I got hit in my shoulder blade. Oof. And it's like the first year they actually do pitching instead of on the tee,
Off the tee
ball
kind of thing.
Yeah. So after that, I was struck out or I walked every time.
Dude,
Yeah.
the same
And,
shit happened to me when I was a kid, dude.
Yeah.
I was like,
the funny
baseball's
thing was-
awesome. Bam! I'm done with baseball.
And I when I got hit, it hurt a lot. I remember, and I went up to my dad. He was on the bench, and I was crying, and I was like, Dad, I don't want to play baseball anymore. And he's like, okay. So, and then later on, we started talking a little bit further. I said, you know what? There's just too much contact in baseball. I said, I want to play football.
No,
and he goes,
you did not say that.
Yeah, and he just looks at me like, you fucking idiot, did I? He said, dumbass. But they signed me up for football, and I loved it ever since.
Yeah.
So.
My regret is I wish I followed football more when I was a kid. It's actually interesting. I don't think I've ever told.
Why is that a
anybody
regret, though? What makes you feel like it's a regret?
When I started playing football, I started late. I wanted to start earlier. I wish I was more into football as a kid. And the fact of the matter is I just wasn't. But I think one thing that I don't think I've ever told my dad or I've told anybody, but I remember actually having an opportunity to get into football. And because my dad was watching a Cowboys game, he was a Cowboys fan at the time, and I remember them screwing up, and I wanted so that I'm 5 years old. I wanted so desperately to be a fan and like be a part of this experience that like I was like, no, like, and I slammed my hands on the table, like we fumbled, and my dad, he was like, oh, what the hell's wrong with you? Got all mad at me. I was like, ugh. So I ran away, and and that was it. Like, I never even tried to be a fan of football again. So it was weird. I don't blame him for that, but I think that experience, that like me trying to be into football and then it just like falling apart because I was just like too aggressive, that I rejected it for so long. But I wish I could have actually been like, I wish I could have appreciated it, because I wanted to play it early on, because when I played it later on, I didn't know anything about it.
What
I was
age
really
was
terrible.
It later on? What is later on?
High school, freshman year. You know what I mean? Gotcha. I was like, I couldn't even really catch a ball. I didn't really know anything about routes or like, dude, I remember being called upon a play. This is how clueless I was freshman year.
Yeah.
They called me on a special teams play to stop them from running the ball into the end zone, and I was on the line, and I was like, what am I doing? And they're like, he's like, stop him from running into the end zone. I was like, okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just
what am I doing, guys?
Yeah, I was like, what's wrong? Like, what are we doing?
Well, I'm glad we're on this topic, though, because I'm actually going through a situation right now currently with my little guy. He's 4.5 years old. And so me and my wife haven't influenced my child in any way about what he's going to be when he wants to grow up. We just let him come up with the ideas. We just kind of like, nurture that, whatever that is. And so earlier on, he was saying, paleontologist, because he learned what a paleontologist was when we were reading a book. So
that's
paleontologist,
dinosaur bones, right?
Yeah, dinosaur bones, yada, yada, yada. He goes, I want to be a paleontologist when I grow up. I'm like, oh, awesome. Cool. All right. That's sweet. That's cool. Just because he's got an obsession with dinosaurs, like most of us did when we were probably boys, young boys. But then eventually he started saying, I want to be a scientist. We were like, a paleontologist is a scientist, you know what I mean, in their own little way. But right, so it's like cool, And then he comes home one day from a grandparent's house, and he's like, I want to be a football player when I grow up. And I'm like, well, hold on, okay, because first off, we don't watch any football at my house. Not that I'm like, against football. We just don't have. I used my time doing other things nowadays, to be honest. Like, the family environment takes a lot of time. I've lost my passion when it comes to watching the games. I prefer to play if I could before watching. Yeah. But it's not on our house, so it's not like he's introduced by anywhere else besides this grandparent's house. And this grandparent is a super fanatic kind of thing.
Can I ask who that grandparent is?
I know you know who that is. So this individual has had to have obviously had some type of major influence over my son, and this with something going on where my son's going to come home and be like, hey, I want to be a football player when I grow up. And knowing my son right now, at least where he's at right now in his life, he would hate football. He would not want to be in a contact sport whatsoever where he's getting hit by somebody. And in fact, I was the same kind of individual when I first started football too. I was the guy that wanted all these super, pads, all these different things you had to get. Where's my back pad? Where's my neck pad? Where's my this pad?
Yeah.
I wanted it all because I was like, I really don't like this. And after my first year, I was kind of like midway through my first year, I was saying, I don't really want to play this anymore. I don't really like it. And it took me like 3-4 years before I started actually really genuinely enjoying playing the sport of football.
Right.
Right.
Now, it did take this, who is a grandparent now, individual to keep me going and going and going and going, because they're obviously so obsessed with this sport. But one thing that's frustrating me is, like I said, me and my wife, who are the parents of this child, are not influencing him in any way or direction of what he wants to be when he gets older. I dislike that the grandparent was doing that, especially when it comes to a sport, especially like football, because we're talking about safety for real quick. This is the topic I'm going to. Okay, because when I played football for 13 years of my life. I have knee issues, and I will say that I feel like they came from playing football because of either receiving the ball out in the open field or carrying the ball as a running back. You get hit in the knees all the time with helmets, pads, anything. You get hit even above, and you're taking weird falls, and your knees are taking a lot of the impact. I've torn my ACL twice now. Like, it's not just I think hypochondriac, I got bad knees. No, I have bad knees to the point where things are ripping because they've had too much injury, and I can feel them whenever I do any type of weightlifting or any type of running or anything that's on cement. I can feel my knees starting to have major issues. Not even my bad knee with the ACL injuries twice. My other knee, which I would consider my good knee, still feeling that pain. But I feel like it was derived from early childhood sports. High impact
Right.
childhood
That's
sports,
important.
okay,
To
because like I was playing soccer before I got into football. In soccer, I mean, there's injuries here and there, but nothing where it was. And there's gonna be like, okay, broken ankles, different things going on, stuff like that can happen, but it's not where it's like every play that happens and occurs, there's major impact happening. That could be like maybe once every 3 games you actually get laid out by somebody, in a situation. You know what I mean?
do you
Not
think they-
every, huh?
Do you think they, Ian and I were talking about this. Do you think they've changed the way that Pop Warner, that's it, Ian, Pop
That's
Warner
it.
football
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
has
PPA.
changed?
Yeah.
Like, are they still tackling as much? Like, I know that there's been a huge.
It's just I don't think it really matters, man. You can say, okay, don't tackle this way, don't tackle that way. You're still getting tackled at the end of the day. We're talking about that impact that your body's receiving, and I don't know.
That's
like-
what I was leaning towards with Ian too. Like, when you're that young and you're still growing.
Yes, that's a
you're
major
more
thing.
You're more susceptible to some issues. So like,
Think about 1 second, though. So think about two people bent over, and you're going to make contact with one another, and you're young, right? So you're getting ready to go hit each other, and now you do this for 13 years, like I said.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been playing for 13 years, and think about the injuries that can occur to your spinal cord. You know what I mean? Like boom, 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 and you're doing this like all throughout practices, which are 3 to 4 days a week. Then you're going and doing it in a game, and you're doing it for 13 years straight. And you're talking about over and over and over and over, and you're hitting in the shoulder. And I have shoulder issues now. I go to do my chest press, and it's like, where did that even occur? I'm not a pitcher. And I haven't done any of that different stuff or a tennis player where it's like nonstop, the shoulder action's going on. I'm like, where could that have occurred? Well, maybe from tackling constantly with the shoulders, you know what I mean? And just, you talk about a million repetitions, you're probably going to have some type of injury, especially when it's in your growth, stage.
okay,
And if you think about it, Rock, I was a fullback and an outside linebacker, most of the time. So I have a really bad right shoulder now.
Yep.
I can actually just grab the end of a table and pop my shoulder out and then pop it back in. I know
It's like click,
so
click, click.
real quick on this topic, the new rules for Pop Warner are as follows. No full speed head-on blocking or tackling drills in which the player lines up more than 3 yards apart are permitted. Having two linemen in stances immediately across the line of scrimmage from each other and having full speed drills where the players approach each other at an angle, but not straight ahead into each other are both permitted. However,
Like
there
the
should be no-
Oklahoma's kind of situation.
I guess, yeah.
Dude,
So like,
those sucked.
right. Oh my god, dude, they're the worst. The amount of contact at each practice will be reduced by a maximum of a third of the practice time, either 40 minutes total of each or a third of the total weekly practice time. In this context, contact means any drill or scrimmage in which down the line versus down the line full speed drills and scrimmages. In addition to the above, we would also like to reiterate the technique portion of Rule 14 of the Pop Warner National Rulebook, 11-man tackle football regarding teaching safety blocking and tackling techniques, with which states blocking so it's just and then furthermore
They change up the way the practice is kind of ran, saying you can't do like these major
significant less.
Do you? I mean, the thing is, do you really think a lot of? I mean, there's probably people that do follow that, but there's going to be a lot of places that are like, they don't even care.
I don't know. I tell you what. How many times have you seen a parent at a practice?
Yeah, that's true. My mom was at every practice actually.
But you gotta,
So there's gotta be parents that are gonna
gotta
be
live
checking
here in the
that.
South. I've coached kids in middle school.
You're
For
blurry,
3
Ian,
years.
by the way.
Yeah, Ian, you are blurry. For 3 years, I coached kids in middle school, and I guess what you would call PAL middle school, whatever it be. Actually, it's not PAL. It's like
I actually like that because I thought coaching football would be fun.
Yeah, I thought I don't
Okay,
know.
I liked
Ian
it. I liked it, but I also saw a lot of what I felt like I
Right.
personally went through as a child too, where I was saying that you're just kind of being forced to do it by another parent figure. You know what I mean? I saw a lot of individuals out there that are being forced to do it, like, oh, you got to toughen up, you got to be this. Like, it just might not be the kid's personality. They might not just be about this. They might have different strengths, and you're right now you're trying to like, exploit them on their weakness. Like I think we just need to, there's, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, my stand is that I think that a sport like something so high, with so much contact and stuff like that, with something like football, I think should be really, really thought out before the individual goes into doing like a huge amount of time invested into it, because there is a lot of injuries that come out from it. And there's even a lot of documentaries that are coming out right now talking about the concussions, that the real damage that comes from concussions. Yeah, and they're talking about that from even boxing and MMA stuff, like the major effects of what happens from these concussions and stuff that occurs on a regular basis from sports like football.
Well, you know what's pretty interesting about that is that I played football, of course, you and I did for a long time, and Then as an adult, getting into like almost a martial art, being in
Yeah.
jujitsu, I almost prefer to have my child learn that than go to
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
football. And I
I mean,
love football. I mean, I
yeah.
still
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
it, but
I
um,
I think I would too, honestly. Like I think I'd prefer that. Like if he's gonna learn something physical, something like that. I mean, I feel like there's a lot. I don't know. I think I would prefer that too, to be truthful.
I mean, and
You know?
not only are you physically active, and I think that's one of the big things as a child. I mean, a lot of kids, my
Yeah.
nephew, I love my nephews and nieces to death, but my nephew Michael, I mean, he just plays video games all day,
Yeah.
and I mean, I love video
Yeah.
games, as we all know,
Yeah.
we all
Exactly.
do. But my parents still said, "Hey, you have to go do this," and I almost looked at like football as when I was younger as like a job. Like that's
Yeah.
my job. I have to go do that.
Well,
Uh,
see, here's the different take that I'm taking out, being a parent right now is that it's like, yeah, we do want to have him being able to do something physical and get out there and to explore
mhm.
himself because he won't know if we don't get him out there. You know what I mean?
Plus, you get friends. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you meet a lot of people, and you get that camaraderie, I guess.
Yeah, exact. That's true. So what we did is we asked him, what is it you want to do? Like
Yeah,
what is it you want to play? We'll show you the different stuff. And his choice right now is soccer. So it's like, okay, cool, we'll do some soccer and stuff like that. When it comes to football, yeah, the choice could be there, but the choice right now for us as parents is not going to be there for him. Just because we're like, we're going to take some time for you to grow a little bit first, for you to get to some different mental states. If you feel like you still want to get there and you want to try it out, then we'll let you try it out, and get out there and explore it. Now, will we make you and force you to go through an entire year? No. But what we'll do first is we don't like to raise quitters by any means. We'll
right.
probably incorporate you in some type of like camp first, where you get to just do like a short period of time of hitting each other and doing these different things. And if you don't enjoy it at that point, you probably shouldn't do an entire year of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we
That's
won't
a good
start you
idea.
up in it. But, you know, one thing I had read before, and it's like I wish I had the article in front of me because it made some really valid points, and I'm not going to do it justice by just saying it right now, but it was talking about changing one C to another C, which was changing competition to cooperation, and that
Okay.
sports right now ingrain in us a competition and a more of a separation, like at a like deep level, like when we get to be older, about you're different than I'm different, and like and I got to do better than you kind of thing, instead of a
Right.
working as a team so much. And I'm like,
Well,
there's some team building stuff in there, I feel,
hmm
but I also do see some of that competition side too. Like, and I said, I'm not going to do it justice right now. I wish I had the article in front of me because it made some really valid points, but um, I
now,
could see
now
where they're,
that's a great idea, Rock. And I really like it. And I understand, being cooperation and everything instead of like, a competition. The only thing is that I don't like is that a lot of places and these sports are kind of giving everyone participation
oh no,
rewards.
okay, yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
not referring to that. What I'm referring to is
Okay.
that mindset of like, I'm gonna get happiness by beating you. You know what I mean? Like that
Oh, okay.
competition side. By my happiness is only achieved by putting you underneath me. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
this. It's an underlying thing though, where it's not like a,
hmm
hey, we're just playing the sport to enjoy the sport all together. We're having a good time. Yeah, we won, but it's okay too. You know what I mean? Like nothing.
Right.
Like it's not. It's like I said, I'm not doing it justice. I wish I had it in front of me because it was a really good article. And when I read it, I was like, damn, you know what? This makes some really good points. But it's just a way of kind of changing because that gets thrown into our adulthood too. You know what I mean? And like
Oh,
you can
yeah.
see, and it just, and instead of it, because I'm a big time humanist, which is why it makes it. I differ sometimes with that opinion. You know what I mean? Because it's like I want to see us all to come together as a whole, and there's so many
Right.
things that divide already as it is, and that I feel like sometimes sports do the same thing.
Yeah,
Sometimes, you
they
know,
do. Yeah.
and it's like not
But
always, just sometimes.
now, something that I think that a child has to experience is okay. So the first year I played, I think it might have been your first year, maybe your second year.
Yeah.
It was when we were in third grade. We went undefeated. We went undefeated in
Yeah.
football, and we won every single game. And I remember the second year going in, and we're still talking about football, and we have Xander here,
Yeah,
the
we're just
future
up and
football
around
star.
for a
Okay,
second.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's about being the dad, man. The early fatherhood stuff you got to
Yeah.
do.
So what I was saying was that second year, and we lost our first game, and I just remember being like that. It felt terrible, but
Yeah.
and my dad told me he's like, look, you're not going to win every time. You're
Yeah.
Yeah.
not always going to be, going to play in an NFL stadium when you're in third grade. That just doesn't always happen. So you have to have that reality kind of check.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
you're gonna
humbling,
win or
right?
lose.
So
What's
one,
that?
It's humbling to know
It
that like
really is.
that
And
losing is
I
part of it.
sat there and I remember just sitting there like, holy crap, this is, and I cried. I
Yeah.
remember
yeah.
crying in the car. I was like, this is terrible. This is a horrible feeling. And my
Yeah.
dad was just like, hey, suck it up. This is real life, And I was like, well, I guess that's the way it is. That's the way the door opens.
And that's the way the door opens.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, man. Like, it's going into a sport and having that kind of competition as a kid teaches you a lot of different emotions and a lot of different coping mechanisms, and it's really easy to quit and kind of like give up. But if you have enough willpower, you can.
This goes to one of those facets they were talking about, though. Is it necessary, like, to learn all those different things, though? I feel like a child can go into a spelling bee and
Oh,
get the
yeah.
same effect emotionally that you
Absolutely.
would learn from losing a football game
Oh,
if
of
you
course.
lost a spelling bee. You know what I mean? Like, and team building, I feel like I've learned a lot more in team building, not from sports, but from having to do art projects with a group of people and having to come together to build some type of project and having to have everybody's differing opinions to be able to work together. I feel like I
Nerd.
built. Well, call it
I'm
what it
kidding.
is.
No,
I feel like I feel like I learned a lot more team building from that than I did from sports. I felt like in sports it was still, even though it was a team, it still felt like in league actually. For example,
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's a team game, still feels like there's a lot of individuals trying to just I, and there is no I in team. We all hear this all the time, but it's like they're really driving on just the individual themselves, not really about the team, not the team as a whole. Like how many touchdowns did I score? How many? And we even say it sometimes like, oh, I haven't gotten a kill yet. I want to kill. I want to. It's like a scoreboard thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a kid on the. We played with some of these individuals too back in the day with Pal, and you know this, Ian, that were just did I score a touchdown? Did I get the ball? How much did I get the ball? Like they didn't care
Like,
anything
that's
about
not the point. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That cooperation instead of the competition. You know what I mean? Or it's like yeah, there's stuff there that maybe it's just not being delivered the right way. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like I learned more as these team buildings, some of this stuff that there's a lot of individuals that say that it can only come from team sports, but I feel like I learned a lot of these different qualities from other walks of life that weren't sports related. You know?
I mean, hell, I think the first time I scored a touchdown, it was like season 5 or something like that for me. I mean, I was a lineman for a long time, and then I finally got to be a fullback, which was kind of cool. But having those, I think it's important to have a kid in some kind of. Be it a sport or not, like if they're on the debate team, who cares? They need to have that interaction with other people, and they have to have some sort of competition only because it kind of prepares you for the real world. Because if a kid sits there and goes, oh, hey, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. Out in the real world, quite honestly, that just doesn't happen. You're not always just going to be handed things. You're not just going to always, oh, hey, you did a great job. You did a good effort. Here's a promotion. That's just doesn't
You had a
happen.
great job.
Yeah, you had a great job.
So we were just talking about like that kind of like what you can learn, and I agree with you, Rocco. It doesn't have to be a contact sport to learn these things.
Right.
But speaking of all the things that you learn, including willpower, I know Rocco, you were talking
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit about.
yeah. So right now, I mean, willpower is I would say it's not one of my strongest qualities. It's something that I feel like, probably a lot of us have to develop over time. It's just like anything else, you know what I mean? You can get better and better and better at it. And willpower is really, I feel like, developed by decisions in the moments.
Right.
So, right now I'm working on my willpower and I'm working it through working out. Where for the past 2-3 years, I have just walked away from something that I was doing like heavily
Every day.
and I don't mean like, bodybuilder kind of stuff, just like keeping myself healthy, keeping myself, strong to some extent, was just trying to do just making sure that I was getting in there and doing it, not on an everyday basis, but just on a regular enough basis where I felt like I was physically fit.
Do you
And
feel flabby at all? Like, are you getting love handles at all?
to not love handles, but I'll tell you what, I don't have a six pack, and I've always had a six pack my entire life. Where right now I've got, my lower abs are what I have to work on the most right now, and it's like that for me. because even my wife said, and even I'm just smaller. Like I'm normally at 162. Lately, I've been at 155, 153. You know, and that for me is just kind of like my arms aren't as big, my shoulders aren't as defined. Things are like, and I look at, I'm really tough on myself when it comes to physically. It's not like I'm like, oh, I
think
gotta look like
everyone
this.
is,
But I'm
honestly.
tough on myself as in like I've always been athletic. Like I said, 13 years of football, this and that. You know, I did college lacrosse, did soccer, all these different things. It's like, you know, I love to be athletic. For me, it's like it's a big joy to be able to go outside and to run around with my kid and play soccer and stuff like that. I don't have to be amazing. I don't have to be a pro at it. I just want to be able to do it and not be like
Right.
like huffing and puffing it.
Yeah.
Or I have to make an excuse. My knee, my knee, my knee. It's like I'm tired of that. I'm done with that, you know? So it's taken a lot of willpower for me to be like, let me change this up 2-3 years. I'm not doing a certain thing. It's not like it takes a lot of fuel to get that fire back up and going. You
Dude,
know,
the hardest thing about working out is starting the workout.
yeah,
Keep maintaining it is actually easier, I think, than starting it up. But then
Yeah.
finding that routine, that has been my struggle for the past 3 years, is finding a routine that works. And because my routine has changed so
Yeah.
like, often
Yeah.
the last 3 years, I mean, like Sarah and I lived together, got married, moved states, moved to change jobs, now have a kid.
Yeah.
Like nothing is consistent, and just like
Well-
when I work out has changed so much, and how I work out with how long has changed so much.
yeah.
And it's totally true. I mean, and willpower is a very big thing. Like I always thought that I had very weak willpower until I actually quit something that is a highly addictive thing. Heroin. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I love how he goes dark so fast.
And that's how the needle gets put in.
That's where the door opens.
I used to smoke cigarettes, and you know what's really funny is when I was younger, my dad smoked cigarettes, and I absolutely hated that, and I would beg him to stop all the time. He ended up stopping a long time, like years and years later when I was in my 20s, but it's kind of biting him in the ass today. But I ended up started smoking cigarettes when I was 19 years old, and I was a cook at a restaurant, and that was the only break you got. And I'm sitting there busting my ass in a restaurant, and after the rush, everyone's going outside smoking a cigarette, but I still have to work. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Can I go just sit down for a minute? They're like, no. But everyone else is sitting down. So I started just having a cigarette in my hands. Then everyone started complaining, he's just sitting out there. So I started smoking. That's how I actually started smoking. And,
Wow.
yeah,
Just
and
the
then
peer pressure.
about I would say 4 or 5 years of smoking, I actually just one day I was like, this is just terrible. I'm going to stop. And I literally that day I stopped.
That's
Nice.
And that's when I realized I was like, man, you know, I can actually do that stuff without any like patches, gums, all that kind of crazy shit. I just said, hey, I'm done. I don't want to do this. This isn't good for me. So I think willpower, like people have it in them, and then it's just getting into that routine, because I sat there and told myself, hey, if I just stop and every time I'm thinking about having a cigarette, I just go get a glass of water. So that's kind of like my little willpower is whenever I have like this addiction or something like that, I'll just go get a glass of water and replace of what I was wanting to do.
Yeah,
So-
it's about that decision making. Like I was saying, like in that moment, like you're okay right here. I'm deciding and figuring out, do I want to do this or not? And you can either go left or right. I love those books where it's like you can choose the direction you want to kind of go.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, and you never know. Like, it's the same thing within life. You can make that choice. You can say, hey, am I gonna feed this? Like, what is the movie? Tomorrow World. It's like there's always two wolves. You can feed this wolf or that wolf. What wolf are you gonna feed at the end of the day? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, where's going to get you going? And that's where, you know, with the workout thing or the stop of smoking, it's like it can be so easy. People have plenty of other addictions, like, you know, constantly have to eat. You know what I mean? Like, and for some reason they have this like major addiction to stuff in their face. You know,
Well,
it's like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you know what's pretty interesting? I don't know if you know this, Clay, but I got Steven into this, and now Richard, you know, two other guys
yeah.
part of the Maelstrom Gamers here. When we play League of Legends, every time you die, you have to do a set. You have to either do squats,
Oh.
push-ups, or curls.
I love
you have
it.
Yeah. So we've been doing that lately, and I don't think Steven really worked out much. Like, and after the first night, the second day, I text him. I said, "Hey, how you feeling?" He's like, my legs are on fire, and
Dude.
it's just like
That's awesome.
just hey, and I said we're gonna find out who's the worst gamer because they're
They'll be the biggest, strongest dude.
yeah. So it's pretty interesting. I think Rocco is starting to kind of get into it with us a little bit, but I know he's been working out just by himself. So
Yeah.
it that just doing that little bit of change, eventually you don't even need the game to work out.
Yeah,
You
see,
just
actually,
start working out.
talking about that, you guys have been doing a lot of the push-ups and stuff like that. What I'm going to be
Right.
doing different is, I was thinking about this today, actually, was I have these resistant bands, and my major issue right now is, like I was saying earlier about getting out there and running with my kid, is that my ACL, that front part of your knee,
Mm-hmm.
like, the muscle right here, I don't know if you guys can see, but the muscle right here on your knee, that one is what I need to build up so that I can be able to run a lot easier. So what I'm going to be doing is that instead of doing push-ups and whatnot, I'm going to use that resistance band on the bottom of my chair and do leg extensions to build
There
up
you
that,
go.
that muscle. So I'll do 20 leg extensions with that resistance band on to be able to doing leg extensions to start building up that muscle. Which
And just watch our streams. You're gonna see because Rocco's gonna have the biggest leg in the world after
it's
that.
one
He
leg.
dies all the time.
Just one leg. That's it. Just my left leg's gonna be huge.
That's awesome.
No, man, it does take a lot of willpower to be able to start anything new or to get rid of
Mhm.
something bad. You know what I mean? Like, and as of late, like you said, Clay, it's about getting that routine, and for me, it's about saying I'm not going to make an excuse about it. I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it every day until it becomes a lifestyle. And once it becomes that lifestyle, it no longer feels like it takes willpower anymore. It's just something that becomes a part of your life. You know what I mean? And you're like, all right, I'm ready to do it. And and you're not forcing yourself to go in there to go to the gym. Like even still today, it can be about 3, 4, 5 weeks before I'm okay with going to the gym to do my legs.
Yeah.
What do they say is you do something for like 30 days and then it becomes a habit or something like that?
Yeah, what I heard is like 21 days straight of something, and then eventually it becomes kind of a habit. And it takes the time to make sure you're doing it every day for those 21 days. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like that's
Because you can easily spend, what, 2 hours in
yeah.
the gym? Like, and
Oh,
that's
I will right now. So
huge
right now,
commitment.
like I'm starting it slow. I'm doing about 45 to an hour just to get myself in the habit,
Yeah.
getting in there, doing it. Eventually, that time grows because there's more and more and more that I want to do.
Right.
I get more specific on it. I'm like, okay, well, this little muscle here and that little muscle here, I want to start to grow. It means I got to do this exercise now. And when I get to that point, yeah, they extend a little bit longer. Now, like we were talking about having kids, that changes things. And I hadn't had realized it until you had said that point, Clay, is because like I had just mentioned, I hadn't been in the gym for 3 years. Well, what happened 3 years ago? So I was having kids, and and it's easy to let things become excuses in life. Children shouldn't be excuses either. You should still be able to do the things you want to do. Like it becomes difficult, it becomes hard, but there's still the ability to get around to be able to do it if you really want it and want to achieve it, So
Well-
that might mean you have to be sleep deprived and get up like for 45 minutes earlier then.
Right.
Yeah.
Ain't even
think
that's
about that.
difficult.
That time management that you're talking about. What I started doing a few weeks ago is that when I get home from work, I go instantly into my bedroom and I get on my workout clothes, excuse me, and I go and run a mile just
Yeah.
right after work. And I'm like, okay, what's that few minutes of just running that mile compared to getting home and logging on League real quick or something? You
Yeah.
know, like it's going to be a major difference to me and health wise compared to what I'm going to play a video game or I'm going to go do something.
Yeah.
So. And I sit there, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to still play the games. It's not like I'm going to take out the whole night. It's just a quick 30-minute workout of doing a mile and like some other-
Willpower and priorities, man. You can make that choice to say, hey, you know what? Fuck it, that run. I'm gonna just go play that game.
Yeah.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it's the same as fuck that, man. I'm gonna go grab that cigarette and smoke it.
Right.
It's just
And I
it's a
felt bad, but because I put you on the back burner, Rocco. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I gotta do this run real quick.
oh for playing.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
So-
man. Like I would say, we spent a lot of time, wasted time on video games and stuff like that. Where I was thinking about it last night. I was like, man, I spent a lot of time on these games, like every
Oh, yeah.
day. Where had I taken that time to go do something different and
Yeah.
and invested that time constantly into that other thing, I would probably be a professional right now at whatever that is.
Yeah.
You know what
Like-
I mean? Like,
My train of thought on that is that I replace video games with like watching TV and stuff. I don't watch TV. I don't do
Yeah.
any of
Neither
that
do
stuff.
I.
Yeah,
no,
so
me-
It's
I'd
on
rather.
the background at best.
Yeah, I'd rather just, be interactive. And I think that it kind of works out my brain because you have to sit there and problem solve and like you're constantly trying to figure something out instead of just sitting there being, just watching TV.
And
That's
I'll
my.
go to the point always of there's a balance in things. When we're doing
Oh, of
5
course.
hours straight, that
Yeah, that's when
You
it
know,
gets kind
Yeah.
of crazy.
yeah, that's the only thing is what I'm saying. I mean, I get that, but then it's like, well, then was it not 5 hours of TV? Was it not 5 hours? What if it was 5 hours of studying, whatever it is you're doing right now for work, extra stuff for it? Would you not walk into work if you had done a 1 week straight or 2 weeks straight of 5 hours every day of extra learning, not become a better, you know,
I do that 8 hours a day. Fuck that.
yeah. Well, you get my point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
I know it's so easy to fall back into like, oh, I'm just gonna play this game instead. Like you come home from a long day at work, the last thing you want to do is push yourself even further. You just kind of want to
Yeah.
relax and unwind. If that means playing a game of League, for an hour or two, like it might be the thing that like kind of saves you from insanity.
Yeah,
Um,
agree.
and speaking,
And I'm fine with that. That's not a problem. That's not at all. The point where I was saying is just kind of like maybe if it's just like 5 hours deep, then
then it's a problem.
then it's maybe a little bit.
Which is also a rabbit hole in itself, where you can like wake up on a Saturday and just play League for 5 hours. You're like, I was supposed to work out, I was supposed to clean, I was supposed to run errands. I didn't do any of that thing.
But I got a fucking pentakill.
Yeah, but I got the Pentakill that I'm gonna forget about tomorrow. So speaking of League of Legends, I wanted to move on to season 6, and I had a lot of questions for you guys because you guys have been playing season 6 a lot.
Yeah.
How is it? Like, how is it different than season 5? What are your thoughts on it? Who are you guys playing these days? Like,
Definitely watch the streams because we have our
Where are the
little
streams
label
located?
of. What's that?
where are the streams located?
They are on. Let's see, Clay. YouTube.
Yeah.
You can find it on there at our channel, which is
Maelstrom
youtube.com, the Maelstrom Gamers.
There you go. Okay.
But and we have a nice little episodes going of climbing that bronze ladder because I mean we're bronze pros here. So
And we're actually almost all of us are out right now. Almost.
Yeah.
I think we're all in like me and Steve are in bronze 1 right now. You guys are out. So it's like once we're done, we're out. No, we're just gonna be climbing that silver ladder now.
that's right. That's
I
right.
need to find a way to get placed. Season 6 is not my season. It was gonna be my season.
It was gonna be
It's
my
not my
season.
season. Maybe
Nope.
season 7. I'll actually like find
It's
out.
still just started though. You got to think about it.
That's
It's just
true.
start.
I can get out of bronze. Maybe I could start bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll
I-
get out of
I
bronze,
still have to do like the preliminary stuff.
and you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
So I've been doing a lot of Zach Jungle. I think I'm doing pretty well. I would leave that up to one of my co-players there, Rocco.
I
if
would
he
say,
thinks-
yeah, he's doing great, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay. So let me just speak about it so it doesn't sound so arrogant coming from you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
But okay, one of his big keys is the fact that obviously anybody that's out there in the community of League is that jungling is a very demanding job because if there's 3 lanes and they're all going to be requiring you, and if you're not helping assist one of those lanes,
Where's my gank?
the most terrible fucking jungle that exists. Okay, so one of Ian's pros is that playing Zach, he's got a lot of mobility and he is showing himself in every lane pretty much within a 2-minute span, which is kind of ridiculous for a jungle to be able to do because there's games where I don't even see the opponent's jungle come down lane like once, and Ian's taking some of that time, like we had said about taking that extra time on the aside to have strategized about some different routes that would be better and beneficial for the team.
Yep.
And since applying those routes, he has made a dramatic difference in the jungle gameplay because he sets the opponent jungle behind a lot nowadays. And playing Zach has got some major CC. And in situations where you're just kind of like, oh, Ian's totally dead here. He pulls out and you're like, what the hell just happened? How did he get that triple kill? He's a freaking tank with globbiness. Like, how did he do this? And I'm not going to lie, like, he plays a mad Zach, dude. And if you're not seeing it, get out there on our stream because if you go and see it, you're going to be wanting him to kind of train you or tutor you up on how to play jungle. Because it's disgusting.
Appreciate it.
It really is gross.
Well, and not to sound arrogant for Rocco, he's been going a lot of Trundle, and
Trundle's where it's at,
it's
man.
crazy. Because putting up that I guess it's considered a totem, but you play, what is it?
I play the little slugger,
That's right.
Trundle. So it's and there's a specific reason for why I chose little slugger is because he's a baseball player. I'm not really big on the baseball playing. Like if you listen to our episodes just earlier, I got hit by a baseball too, and I didn't.
You were
I
like,
didn't like
no more.
So is
No.
that like a hidden thing then? Like you're like, oh, I don't like baseball, so I picked
No,
it.
no, no. So here it is. This is why I chose it. I chose it because I was checking out the skin spotlights, and Trundle's little slugger skin, his totem, whatever you want to call it, pillar, is a #1 champion trophy. So I was like, yeah, I'm totally #1. I'm definitely getting getting that. Just so every time I throw up that pillar, everybody knows that I'm the boss.
So you're definitely buying aesthetics to troll, no pun intended.
Literally, yeah, exactly.
Troll the other team. And is
Yeah.
that consistent when you guys play? Like,
Yeah,
It's
pretty
really-
consistent
yeah.
right now. I'm like he's sticking Zach, I'm sticking Trundle right now,
Cool.
and Trundle support is where it's at for me.
so
and
that's
it's
really
like-
interesting. 'Cause we're talking about someone of a jungle and support, but this season, from what I understand, they really upped the
Bruisers.
ADCs.
Yeah.
Oh, ADCs too. Yeah, there's
They
a
said that
major
I mean,
change.
that was like, yeah. So, but I mean,
so
I-
major change in the point of
AD
where you can have somebody like Graves running around jungle,
right.
where that really wasn't
He's a
something like
beast.
of norm before, but it's
Yeah,
it's
at
it's
all.
a common thing nowadays.
Holy crap. So how's that? So how's that changed the game for you guys then for season 6? Like,
I think
well-
the,
are they
the
harder now? Or
jungle is
ADCs?
yeah. I'm thinking that the jungle is playing way more of a part of controlling a game than it used to.
yeah, it
You know-
it is.
Before, I
jungles
mean,
have more
yeah, the
weight.
jungle was nice, but like it would be like a ADC just got fed and destroyed the game, or a top got
Right.
destroyed. But nowadays, it seems like the jungle is where it gets fed. You have a Zen Zhao that just sits there and farms. You let them just sit in the jungle, even if they're not ganking, they're getting so strong in late game just carry. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell? I haven't even seen this character the whole game, and out of nowhere they're just killing everyone.
Is it because they changed the way that XP is being given from jungle? Like, how is it? Why is that?
They're-
Or are they better
different
at ganking
items.
now? Different items. Okay.
Yeah,
there's
there was
stuff-
a lot of. Oh, that's exactly why the Xin Zhao situation's going on. Is because the
Yeah.
items,
That's right,
the
they
new
changed
items
function.
that they've incorporated have allowed them to be able to build this. It's like they get the Gunzo Rage Blade, and
Yeah.
they get a few other things, and it's like just. Even if
Stupid.
Jax has it, or a few different champions that have it, it's like it becomes stupid almost. To be honest,
Yeah.
like they can just kind of carry that game, but
They jump
Um,
in on a 5 versus 1 and kill everyone. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh,
bro,
I've seen it.
how's that
Yeah, I've
possible?
played,
You know,
or
It's
if you're
stupid.
incorporating the new ADC changes where it's like that Graves is able to go into jungle. I've even seen Twitch in jungle, where it's like now you've got 2 ADCs running around on the map. You got to think about that too. So it's not only you're looking at one ADC, let's do
Especially
a
someone
team
who can
fight, focus
turn
him.
invisible.
Right. Or somebody like Graves that can just do some massive damage. You know what I mean? Like explosive damage. And it's like that could be dangerous, But the
Yeah.
Bruisers got some big like buffs too recently in season 6. So like the Tom Kench, which is a consistent ban in all ranked games,
Yeah.
can carry a team too. This guy can just take on 5 players at once and still be able to do a lot of damage
Well,
and
and
get
if
out too.
and if you think about it, like a Fiora or a top, like a Riven, those crazy bruiser champions used to be like, oh, you need to ban them. Now it's like these weird ban, like, you have Tom Kench, like a tank. Like, why are we?
Mundo too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
things like that. So it's just changed the game so much. And if you've watched previous streams and everything, I used to be Singed all the time.
Yeah.
I haven't
Top
played Singed really in a long time because they took away his potion, start out
Yeah.
potion, which was huge. So it just makes it a little bit slower. I'm still good with the character. It's just it's more difficult to play him now and to really carry
Another
the game.
point about Zach, Ian's Zach jungle play in season 6 as of right now is that they've changed up a lot of the game in the sense that it is became very objective based.
Yes.
You have to make sure it's no longer where it's like you can win a game without having any dragons. It's like you have to have the objectives to be able to kind of
Is
win.
that
these
true?
games.
Because I thought dragons weren't that important in season 6.
Oh,
No.
no, they're huge because
They're
if
huge
you
in
get
season 6.
if you get 5 dragons, you do true damage. So
Oh,
And-
did they change
Does-
that? It's now true
yeah.
damage?
so yeah,
Which
5
means
dragons.
true damage for those who are
And
playing
think
at
about things
home
like
is
Rift Herald now, okay, where it was Baron always, now it's Rift Herald, where you can get before the 20-minute marker, you can kill this mini Baron kind of
right.
deal that can drive one lane, not all lanes, but one lane to kind of push down. Like, and that's a big deal too, because you know what I was saying with Ian's Zach gameplay is that he's pulling off the first dragon kill at like minute 5-6, which is
Yeah.
really fast and really early for a lot of junglers, which is kind of like, wait, what just happened here? They got one dragon already down, and then there's plenty, you know, more than not, he'll have, you know, at least the Rift Herald down once, possibly even twice before the 20-minute marker comes up, and that's huge. Think about this for top lane now that gets like a Baron buff and is able to drive down two towers at before minute 15, and it's like, or minute 20, for example, and it's like we're down, you know, past tier 2 tower. And that top lane is just roaming and ganking all over the place because of the assist from Ian getting Rift Herald, which I was saying these objectives became so key now to being able to make sure you're achieving to be able to win a game or just to tilt the game in your favor dramatically.
And true
you know?
damage that negates like all like defensive buffs or armor, or is
All
that just,
defenses, yeah, all
Everything, yeah.
defenses. I mean, that's one of
You
the
hit
biggest
for
problems.
100,
Like
it's
Darius,
100. Yeah.
you know, like Darius' situation, you can't really build against him because it's like he's going to do true damage on you anyways. So just be prepared for it. He's going to do some
Just
mad
gotta
damage.
dodge his shit. Yeah.
You just got to dodge it. Yeah. So it's like they made some major changes, honestly. And I think that like it was going back to the kind of the team situation where they're trying to make it more of a team sport because and I say team sport because league is becoming a sport, guys.
That's
oh
right.
hell yeah, no, it already is.
Well,
Yeah, it's-
And
Yeah,
what's
exactly.
crazy, what's really crazy is them, you know, completely deleting Varus.
yeah, that was bad. I
I'm
was
kidding.
upset with that
I
move.
just want to
What?
see his reaction.
You gotta be kidding me!
At least I haven't seen Navarez played at
Oh.
all, actually.
I
Like,
haven't either,
Nobody
yeah.
plays that guy. I'm the only guy who
Navarez,
plays
dude.
him.
The only ADCs that I ever see is like Misfortune, as Easy, and like Jinx, and that's about it, really, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jihin, or Jin, or however you say his name. He's the new ADC that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some differences, you know, like a lot of items too as well have made some major changes. You know, and play styles have changed. I mean, I was playing a lot of Lux and a lot of different other champions as my support champions, and now I've gone Trundle, like and Trundle, who's, you know, wasn't really like a big norm support, is like a very strong support now, just because he's beast.
Yeah.
He's a beastie troll.
So,
I like
yeah,
season 6 though, man.
That's the
Yeah,
other thing
season
with
six
season
is
6 is it was making it a little bit quicker of matches. Things are
It is,
speeding up, but
yeah, I would actually say so. I mean, most of the games seem to be under 45 minutes. Some of them will
good.
go a little bit above, but we're, I think in season 5 we were kind of going beyond 45 on a lot of
Hours,
games.
yeah.
A lot of games were kind of going past that. Where now they've
Right.
decreased.
I
One
like
thing
I
I
like
definitely-
half-hour games. I think those are like the sweet spot.
I think that I agree, you know. But one thing I did definitely like about the game is their matching system now. Granted,
Yeah,
it does take a
yes.
while, but we can actually play ranked games with me, Steve, and Rocco. Instead of just
Yeah.
only duo, you can actually build a 3 or 4 man team and get that other random person in there now.
Oh,
So-
great! So
That's-
when
that's
you say
actually
fours or
huge.
nothing, it could work.
That's actually we didn't even talk about that, but that was a huge change in season 6.
Yeah.
And not even just that ability, which is so fucking awesome. Not just the duo queue ups, but you can
Yeah.
have up to 4 or 5, you know, any number. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah, and play ranked. But the other situation is that you get to choose 2 different roles that you'd want to play, and that's big too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
now instead of there being a lot, like where ranked, kind of the community was getting a little sour back in season 5 because
Yeah.
you'd be like, I want to be bot, no, I want to be, you know, bot, you know, and they're
And
sitting
it's like-
there and they would rage quit on you or troll on you and go feed. Where now it's like you get to kind of be, you get to.
You're like,
It's
hey,
not
this is
100%,
what I'm good
sure.
at.
Yeah,
but this is my
exactly.
backup good.
Like
you
these
know?
are my
'Cause-
these are my 2 strengths, and I'm gonna roll with these.
Yeah.
Where it helps, I think that's what's kind of helping the games go a little quicker too, is because it's now it's playing to the player's strengths, where it's not like you're just gonna get into this role. It's like there was so many games where I had gone in and I had to play a certain role. And I was like, damn, dude, I am not good at this role.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what am
like
I
mid.
choosing here?
You know,
Yeah,
me and mid,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my worst spot. Like,
Yeah.
I can win most of my games if I'm top or jungle,
And
but
mine's
you're gonna put
ADC.
me in my worst fucking spot.
I had like several games of ranked, and I had to get stuck at ADC, and I was like, I don't play ADC. I don't even have an ADC. Like,
Oh man.
what am I gonna do? I had to just select Ashe because it was the only like free given one, and I was like, I gotta do it. I don't even if they counter me, it doesn't matter. I just gonna have to do it because they forced me into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like that was a huge change too. That I kind of brought a lot more.
Flexibility in the matchmaking and probably better matches, right? Like,
I enjoy it a lot more now.
Stronger matches. Yeah,
huge.
exactly.
So
Less raging
player,
happen,
yeah,
you know?
less raging and better
Even though
like,
there's still
player life
trolling and
quality.
raging happening, what you see a lot happens in bronze because it's like everybody thinks they're their best player and they're trying to tell everybody how to do, and yet they're still sitting in bronze. And
What you trying to say, man?
Yeah.
I'm the
What you
best
trying to
Zach
say,
ever.
bro?
yeah, it's like, bro, I'm fucking awesome. Why are you building that way, bro? It's like, well, why are you still in bronze? Stop talking to me. Like,
Yeah.
I want to build however I want to build, man.
Yeah.
Like it's my comfort zone. I'm gonna do what I feel. And are you playing this position? No, I am. And how many games do you have in this role?
Yeah, no shit.
But it's I like that it has incorporated that because it's brought down the rage meter a lot. You know, even though it's still kind of there, it has dramatically changed the gameplay. You know, faster and the community is a little bit better too.
Yeah.
Things are more polished. They have update UI. It's
Yeah.
prettier.
I like it. You know, it is prettier too. The whole like fade in thing, the banners kind of like, oh, that's sweet. It's like a Flash, like, you know, going on a Flash website compared to just regular HTML. You're like, oh, this is kind of cool.
One of these, I'll say, okay, one of these nights, we'll have to get together and all play. We'll have to stream it. We'll have to do another like drunk league play.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Like,
Let's
I
go
was just-
bad too, man.
Yeah.
How about I was freaking wasted.
Yeah.
I was telling you guys. I listened back at it. I had to listen to it. I was like, did I say something stupid or? I have to listen because sometimes
I just heard like chips crunching, and then you were gone. Like you stopped
I was like,
playing.
guys, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to bed. I was
Yeah.
telling you guys, I was putting myself to bed.
Yeah.
You guys were like, bro, you need to go to bed. I was like, guys, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah. That's awesome. So speaking of drunk
Yeah.
situations, let's
Yeah.
go to our next topic about drunk stories. So I think that would be fun.
Shameful situations.
So you guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about, like we started talking about before this podcast about, in particular, Ian's wedding story about,
Oh man.
about how things can get crazy, and then when you
It's
mix
not me. It
alcohol
wasn't
in there,
me.
it wasn't you, but when you mix alcohol in there, things get even kind of wilder. And maybe we could start there, and then we can each share maybe a crazy drunk story.
Okay, so
I'll be right
basically, at my wedding, this is my brother's story.
Yeah.
I love my brother to death. He's awesome. He's a cool guy, but he drank a lot that day, and he actually did a few interesting things. But to kind of kick it off, I told him to go bring flowers to my soon-to-be wife at the time, and Rocco was there. And I told them the wrong room number. I was just not in the right mind. I was freaking out that day, and so Rocco can explain that part.
Okay, so we walk up to the door, which is obviously the wrong number, like Ian just said, and he's knocking on the door, thinking it's the right. I don't even. It didn't even matter. Like that, he might have thought that it was the right room because what he said was just fucking crazy. He's knocking on the room. He's like, "Open the door! Open the door! I'm gonna rape you!" And we're sitting there like, first off, it's the wrong room. I don't doubt that whoever's sitting behind this door is like, what the fuck is going on? Oh my God, we're going to die right now. Calling the cops, doing whatever. Because they must be freaking out because there's some drunk assholes. And it's not just one guy. There's fucking 4 guys, actually. There's 4
yeah.
guys sitting outside of this hotel room. One of them's yelling he's going to rape you. This is pretty intense. You can clearly tell that they're intoxicated. I'm just sitting there in the back, like, because this is just, it's not a part of my character. I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And eventually we find out that, yes, it is the wrong room and that we just went a little ham on some stranger.
So
you keep going on.
yeah, so they end up getting up to the room, do everything there, and so I'm gonna kind of fast forward to the actual wedding part. So Clay, we were just explaining the beating on the door,
Yeah.
yelling they're gonna rape them,
Story.
Yeah,
So-
well, that seems logical. That's something you say when you want to threaten someone.
and it was the wrong room, of course. So so
The wrong
when-
room. So did that person come out and
No,
No.
they didn't. They must have been terrified, dude. Like, I don't lock door. There was
Yeah.
4 guys. That was just saying this. 4 guys sitting outside of their hotel door. One's yelling. We're all intoxicated. They can clearly tell. And one's yelling, "I'm gonna rape you."
Yeah, I wouldn't answer that door either.
What would
Open
you
the
do on the
door,
other
I'm
side?
gonna rape you.
What if it was like, oh my god, what if it's like some
Kids.
woman who's like,
Okay.
I was just shaking my head like we're about to get fucking arrested. You're getting arrested.
okay, all right,
So to fast forward to my wedding was on a beach actually, and down here in Florida. It was really nice, but where the reception was across the main road, and it was like really far from where the beach was. So we all get into my truck and drive over there, and get prepared for the whole ceremony. And I walk down the aisle, I get to the front, I'm standing there. My brother was my best man, so he comes walking right after with my sister-in-law, who's the maid of honor. And right when he stands next to me, he leans in and he goes, "I forgot the rings." And I go, and I'm just standing there like, "Wait, you're joking, right?" And he's like, "No." He goes, "I'm so sorry, man." And I told him, and I'm like trying not to freak out, but I was just like, I told him, I said, "I have never wanted to beat your ass more in my life than right now." And I didn't know what to do. I was like frozen. And I mean, if you think about it, people are still fucking walking down the aisle,
And he's
So-
drunk, dude. I mean, not Ian. His brother is.
Yeah. And I just, my mom's sitting in the front, and I just wave at her. I'm like, "Get over here, get over here." So my mom comes up to the altar while everyone's walking down the fucking aisle. I said, "Give me your ring," and I said, "Go get Dad's ring." So she ran over, and it's one of the funniest things ever. I laugh about all this now. It's hilarious. But my dad's filming, and out of nowhere, you just see the camera shaking because my dad is laughing so hard.
oh my god,
He's like, "You're gonna remember this, Ian."
oh my god.
Yeah. So
Did you think
my
your
dad-
brother was joking at first?
I did. I thought he
Yeah.
was just trying to, because my brother, he's like, like I said, my brother's a great guy, but he's a jokester and everything. So, yeah, he fucked that up. So,
He did,
the,
dude.
the,
He
the
did.
best part is that, okay, so I'm standing at the altar and everything. My mom comes over, hands me the rings, and I'm like, okay, I have these at least. So we have this hippie of a lady she was awesome, but she was like this weird hippie doing the ceremony.
Yeah,
So-
she was super hippie.
Yeah. She
was.
kissed the rings and everything, and the whole time I'm laughing because those aren't even our fucking rings.
Yeah.
And
The sands of the beach.
yeah, she's like picking up the
Yes.
sand, telling us to pick up sand,
Mix
and
the sand.
we're putting sand in a jar.
Sand it
and-
together.
And my wife and I, we're putting sand in the jar, and the lady starts putting her own sand in the fucking jar. So
We're all putting sand in the jar.
yeah, I was
I was
what
like,
are
this is becoming a sand orgy.
How did you like get who did you hire her? Did you know
Yeah,
this
we
was
hired her.
you just
Honestly-
sound surprised, like you weren't expecting
Well,
this.
I don't think that was like it didn't part.
okay, look,
In the practice part, whatever you call that, that definitely didn't go down then.
Oh, okay, so you had no idea there was gonna be sand jar stuff.
well, they asked us if we wanted a sand ceremony, and we're like, yeah, no, we don't care. So they set it up, but they forgot all the jars. So we just had a table in the middle. I'm like, what the fuck is this thing?
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they had to go get jars that were hanging off the chair, like for the aisle. Yeah. So, but then like she told me, she goes, "Hey, they forgot the sand stuff. Do you want me to put it in or not?" I said, "Look," and this is right before I walked down. So I'm hit with all of these issues like back to back, bro. And I tell her, I said, "Put it in, put it out. I don't give a shit. Just wing it." And she wung it, and it was fucking weird.
It was
Honestly.
fucking weird.
And she was drunk too.
Wow.
So with all that going on, my wife, I didn't tell her until they were trying to get the jars off the chairs. I told her, I said, "Hey, these aren't the rings. Go with it." And Taylor, being the cool chick she is, she's like, "Okay," like she didn't care.
Yeah.
But up until I had to put my mom's ring on her finger, I call Taylor sausage fingers because she has like short, thick fingers.
She got
So the
man
ring,
hands.
the ring didn't fit, and she like everyone was like kind of watching, and I only went up to the first knuckle.
And then did you just like fake it? Were you just like
No, I
And
just
then,
went
like-
as far as I could and just stopped, and like
We're done.
meanwhile your dad's zooming in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look at this shit.
Nice.
So that was my brother's drunken crazy story, but and honestly, looking back, I wouldn't want it any other way because it's just hilarious. It's a great story now, and but at the time, I thought I was gonna fight my brother at the altar.
Memories, man.
You're gonna rape him. All right,
I
Rocco.
remember when my 22nd birthday. It was I was with all my lacrosse buddies, and they decided they were like, oh yeah, for every age that you turn, we're gonna get you a shot. So
No,
you really
shots.
can't get 22 shots deep without just dying.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it was kind of like we went to a club, and this club was kind of a new club out in Savannah. It's like what was the name of that club? It was like the only club in Savannah.
52.
Yes,
Go
that's what it was.
52.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah. Freeze something. It was like something. Ice was in the freeze was in the ice. I don't know. Club 50 freeze ice. I don't know. Anyways, though, so we're there, and there's these go-go, or not go-go dancers. The ladies that walk around with the drinks.
Yeah.
Like
cocktail.
cocktail waitress.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a cocktail waitress and stuff like that walking around constantly with these tube shots and.
Those are the worst things to buy. I'm going to tell you, working in the industry, they're the cheapest liquor. There's not much in it, and they're so like
You're
drowned.
paying for the experience to get someone to
Yeah.
shoot a syringe of liquor into your mouth.
That's about it, really, right? So it's like I get about like 10 shots deep, and I'm fucking gone. I don't know who's in my body anymore. My mind
Who's
is
in
taking.
my body? What
I
kind of party is this?
Right, okay? That's the way
by
the door
some-
opens.
Some wild
swear to
spirit. I don't know what it is.
Who's in
Like
my body?
it's just like So then they got the go-go dancers that I was just trying to refer to that are out there. They're dancing up on the stage, and I tell the lady, I'm like, hey, let me get up on stage. Let me do it. I can do it better. So.
Uh-huh.
I get up on the stage in this club, which later gets on to I get kicked out. But I start just dancing and going crazy and having fun. You know what I mean? Like drunk, wasted, get kicked out of the place. I mean, gone. Like I was saying, gone. I decide I'm very tired, guys. I'm very tired. I'm so tired I want to go to bed. And I want to go to bed in the middle of the street in downtown Savannah.
Dude, I did the same thing.
So I lay down in the street while there's cars trying to
not the
come,
street,
and my
but-
friends are all telling them to stop, and I'm just, no, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to sleep. No, I gotta go to sleep. So eventually, it's this, friends decide that the best thing for me is to put me to sleep on the curb, on the sidewalk. So I feel
They're
like
looking out for you, man.
I'm drunk. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not even there, man. I'm gone. And they put me to sleep, and they put me to sleep. I'm sleeping on the sidewalk while my friends try to go get the car so that they can bring it around. And I'm getting woken up by a cop, like, hey, you all right? I'm like, and my friends are, perfect
Gone.
time, decide to pull up, and they're like, no, man, we got him. We're just kind of taking him home. Like, good, he needs to get home right now. He's otherwise, shit's just gonna go down. But whatever he said, I don't have a clue what the hell happened because I'm just like I said,
Passed
my
out.
mind's taking a back seat. But one of the craziest experiences that I've ever had, just being deciding to want to make my bed in the middle of the road,
Wow.
being several shots deep, and I noticed there's a little trend in this one is that I decide to black out. No, I don't know why. Like whenever I start to drink a good amount, and that happened in one of my league nights too recently.
Mm-hmm.
I say 3 drinks, but my wife was like, "Oh, those were big drinks." There's probably like 6 drinks.
Yeah.
But it's still
And
blacking
you're
out.
very concerned about going to bed.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those things. I'm like, I know when it's time to go to sleep. I just don't
right.
know where to go to sleep.
So my drunk story, man, very similar to the door issue that you had, Ian. Maybe I don't know what it is. When you're drunk, you obviously can't, decipher like the correct things, right? You're too intoxicated. So, this all started going to see football in Chicago. We had a bunch of colleagues that were very into football, and a lot of times we would go to this Steelers bar. By the way, Rocco.
Yes.
But on the front, Steelers bar was called Weeds on Joe or something like that, Joe Weeds or whatever. And it was basically a giant warehouse, and you go into this. It has a front which is very much bar-like, has a ton of TVs, and then you go into the back, and this back was ginormous. It was like a cafeteria with just long tables, and along the sides are these giant projector games being presented. Every single game bigger than any other TV you can imagine are being projected. So you sit what game you want to watch, and there's never ever a shortage of what you can like watch and see. Like you never have to worry about that. So it was the perfect place to watch football and drink and have fun. So we go and we watch a Titans game, and then there's also other like games going on. And we're drinking, having a great time. There's like 6 of us. We're pounding pitchers of beer, and then our games like go really well, and we're having a great time. So we decide, we're like, hey, this is like 11 a.m. in the morning. We're like, hey, we should go grab hookah after this. We should go smoke some hookah at a hookah bar. And at the time I was super into hookah, and like I just wanted to like drink and like relax and whatever. This is Sunday morning, and they're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go smoke some hookah. I was like, all right, okay. Wait, but before we smoke hookah, we should totally take shots, because you really want to be nice and like buzzed. Like we're buzzed drunk at this point. We should not be having shots. But ass, I'm like, dude, we should totally have shots before we go. And
that's how every great story starts.
Oh yeah. And so the lady comes over and they're like, hey, can we have some shots? And I think these guys are thinking like we'll have like some Washington apple shots, like some like really like easy things. And I'm like, no, we need to have 4 Horsemen shots.
Oh my god!
and I had not had one. I've heard of it. And I desperately want to have one. They're like, "What the hell is that?" I was like, "It's the 4 J's. We got a little bit of Jack, a little bit of Jose, a little bit of of Jim, and a little bit of like Jack, Jim, Jose, and John. Right? Johnny Walker, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, and Jose Cuervo. So all these different types of alcohols into a shot. And she's like, okay. So she orders them. And then like we're waiting for the things, and like they're playing like Flogging Molly and like all this like great music. So we're like, it's like I was like, we're like smashing beers together, drinking, and then the shots come. We get the shots. We're like, oh my god, we need another round of shots. We need another round. Same thing. So she comes, brings another round. We take the shots, and at that point, things like spread. Like it's almost if like our conscious minds were like just like seeped out, and we forgot what we were doing, and we all just zombied out to our own individual paths. Like we were collectively there and conscious, and we were gonna go hookah afterwards. And then what happened? We got so drunk that like my one friend goes off to the bathroom, my other friend gets social with another group of people. I wander to watch other games. My other friend goes outside to smoke. And so we've all had these like new paths, and I'll explain what I think happened. I'll explain then what has happened to each individual. But I eventually go outside because I'm like, where is everybody? And like I go outside and I see my buddy talking to a bunch of people, and I'm just like chumming up with some people. I'm like wasted, and they know I'm wasted, so they're just having fun talking to me. And then like people are like, I don't know what it was. People were getting like nice and cozy. They're like putting their arm around me, like, hey man, you're pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, get your arm around me. And like for whatever reason, like I do not want to be touched. And like I eventually slither off. I'm like, I'm going away, and I go out, and I think I want to go home. And my buddy who I work with. He's like, hey man, you're really drunk. We should get you. I'm like, yeah, we should totally get. And then like I run away from him, and I totally I eat it. I trip and I fall into the curb. I'm like, I'm fine. And so he's like, dude, you're not fine. And at that point, I forget everything. And so I'm now at this point, what I'm telling you is being told to me of what happened.
Oh god.
My friend calls a cab, and he brings the cab over. And apparently, now this is one of 3 cabs because of issues. He brings me into the cab. He drags my drunken body. I puke on the street everywhere. The cab's like, no, and it just drives off. Second cab comes.
No.
Drives off. Second cab comes. He's bringing me over. The guy takes one look at me. No, drives off. Third cab comes. Finally gets a cab that's willing to take my drunk ass home. He's like, all right, Clay, where you live? And I'm like, I live, blah. And they drive me to my address. My friend and my friend's pretty big, so he can drag my like weak ass body up. Cab goes off. He brings me up. He's like, okay, what unit are you living in? And I tell him this unit. However, a month ago, I had just moved from the 2nd story to the 3rd story. So, and I tell him my old address, my old door room. So we go to the 2nd floor as opposed to the 3rd floor, and I'm walking drunkenly. I'm talking, blah, blah, and I take out my keys. And I'm trying to get them into the keyhole, and they're just not going. And meanwhile, this is also now at 2 p.m. in the afternoon because we started at 11 a.m. and we're just completely plastered. So very weird. So I'm trying to shove the keyhole in. I'm like, it's not working. I'm thinking I'm just drunk. All of a sudden, the door swings open. This man comes up. He's like, can I help you? And I was like, oh, I'm very sorry. So he sees these two drunk people just trying to get into his apartment complex or his apartment room, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I remember now that I moved up. I was like, I used to live here, blah, blah. My friend's like, dude, what is going on? So we go up to the third floor. He picks my dead body, like my body up, my drunk body, like throws me on the bed. He's like, all right, dude, make sure I'm not on my back, and then leaves me. I wake up to find out that like all this has happened. I also find out what happened to a couple other individuals. My one friend ended up getting thrown up and having to take in a cab who was chumming it up with some people. My other friend, colleague, he ended up stumbling into the bathroom, puked everywhere, and they had to call a cab to get him home. And then, so none of us went to hookah. We did not get far enough as the front door. And the other thing was really funny. The guy who ended up puking all over the toilet and like having to get like pulled out by like management. Oh, and we all left our wallets and our cards. We all had to go there the next day. But actually, the day after, because the next day was a work day, because it was a Sunday, so it's Monday. Multiple friends actually had to go home. Like the next, they tried to make it into work, and everyone was hungover. And Patch is like, dude, I gotta go. He's like, noon
This
came
is
around.
why
Like,
you
going
don't
home.
order a Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
I used to serve those every so often. I'm just like, oh, these people are gonna be throwing up later.
It is nasty. You don't mix alcohol in general, right? And like that just like that did it in. But yeah, man, that's my drunk story.
Well, how about this? I know I'm telling a lot of people. I have a few funny, crazy drunk stories, but I was a bartender for years, so I've seen a lot of people's drunk stories, and I've been actually the person that has made those happen by serving them sometimes. But I have this crazy epic one where it was this girl's 21st birthday. I've dealt with a lot of 21st birthdays, bartending for 6 years. But this girl, she came in, she had, her little crown on and her little group of friends. And I'm like, I've seen you in here for the past 2 years, now you're 21. So, but she's, going crazy, taking shots. And I worked in downtown Tampa. So, and I sat there, I'm like, man, people are going to have fake IDs. And I understand it. I ID'd everyone. But I just remember her being like, I've seen you in here like 3 or 4 other times. So she has this crown on and she's taking shots, shot after shot after shot. I'm like, good Lord, this is not going to be a good night for her. So I ended up cutting her off and she left. So her and her little group of friends went to another place in downtown. And out of nowhere, her friends come back, and this is at 3 a.m. when we closed up. They're like, hey, have you seen this girl? I said, no, I haven't seen her since you guys left. They're like, well, we can't find her. I said, well, I don't know where she's at. There was 1,000 people here. I'm not your babysitter,
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, when you guys went downtown, like went down the street, she might be down there, go check there. So they left. They came back at 3:30. They said, hey, she's not down there. Are you sure she's not in here? And we had like a big place, so we have to go through and sweep the place and everything. And so the guy bartenders go in and check out the men's room, and the girl bartenders go in, which was 1 or 2 we had, went into the girls, and they said, hey, there's one stall that's locked, we can't get in. So one of the girls climbed under and yelled. She was in there, and there was throw up everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. The worst thing though is that she was wearing a dress that night. So her underwear was sitting on the floor. She threw up all in that. Yeah.
Ugh. It's amazing what you do when you're drunk. Like, you're throwing up. It's insane.
But it was so weird because like her dress had like moved down and her boobs were out, and her dress was kind of hiked up, so it was just like in the middle. And they're like, "Hey, Ian, we need some help." I'm like, "What?" And they go, "It's a really bad situation. She's wasted, and her friends were outside." We're like, hey, we found your friend, but, she's going to need some help. So when I go in there, I'm like, oh, hell no, I am not helping with this. I'm like, this is disgusting.
They don't pay you enough for that.
Yeah. So we ended up having one of her friends, one of the girls, come in, and we helped her. Like, it was funny because she finally came to, and she was trying to walk around the corner to walk out with still her dress just in the middle, not even pulled down and up. I was like, no. I was like, you got to do all this stuff and before you walk out. So
that.
The best part is that so we finally get her with her friends. They take off. She left her purse there. So the next day I'm sitting there opening the bar and I'm cleaning and getting everything set up. she walks in with a hat. She goes, "Hey, I left some stuff here." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "What'd you leave?" She's like, "My purse." Da 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 da. And I go to grab it, and I turn to her. I was like, "Oh!" And she's like, "Please don't. Just please don't." I was like, "Here you go." So she had to like have that, walk in and
Walk of
be
shame,
like,
dude.
Like a walk,
Yeah.
yeah, like a really bad walk of shame.
"Oh,"
It sucks.
but of course,
But we all
me
have 'em.
being
Yeah.
me being the smart ass and everything, I was like, "Hey, how was your night?" And I hit her in the face.
She's like, please don't. Please don't.
Yeah.
I swear. Well, look,
We got-
man, those are
we got-
drunk stories. They're crazy. And, like,
Yep.
we have a bunch. We'll have to do maybe, like, a part 2 of this down the line. Because there's a lot of good stuff. Although I don't know how much I want to necessarily divulge to YouTube. But look, I have a baby. And that baby is crying. So, look.
Oh yeah.
This has been another great episode of the
Yeah,
Everything and
absolutely.
Nothing show. Again, we're going to be here next week with another 5 topics. You can all get this on youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel. You can support us via YouTube or patreon.com. Just throw us a couple bucks, if not just to support us and keep us doing what we're doing. We'll be back next week, like I said, with another set of 5 topics. It's been an honor to entertain you guys. Peace and take care.
AKA the journey.
Take care.